My name is Bob Swanay. I'm currently the library director of Carmel Clay Public Library in Indiana. But I just started that position in November. So I was at Johnson City Public Library in Tennessee for 21 years, and I spent my last 8 years as director. So maybe around 3, maybe 4 years ago, we had a challenge to a book in the children's area. The book was Heather Has Two Mothers, I think is the title, or I might be slightly paraphrasing, by Leslie Newman. And it was about some kids that were being raised by two mothers. And it was a great, wonderful book. I loved it, and we had a patron, a regular patron, brought her. She had 3 kids, and she would bring them into story time every day. She was a very frequent user of the library, and she strongly objected to the library having that book in the collection, to the point that she wanted to take it all the way. She asked for, who to contact, and we actually had a complaint form. She filled that out, and so we started the process defined by our policy, and the policy of that library was the director renders a first decision. So I looked at it and saw that, that book had circulated well. It had been checking out in the community, obviously, so it was resonating to some. I read the book, and I thought it was a wonderful book. And then I went and looked at reviews. It was very well reviewed and all that sort of thing. So I carefully wrote a letter back to this patron and explained that, those factors. And she did not want to accept my decision. She wanted to know how she could go, if there were a higher appeal she could make. Policy at that library, again, there is a higher appeal. She can ask the library board to review it. And so the way the policy dictated that happens is a community committee is set up to review the book and make a recommendation back to the board. So I had some involvement in the helping set up the committee, and we were just looking for a good representation. So I contacted a guidance counselor from the local school system. So that was one. I had a police officer he was the community service officer, so he was on the committee. One staff member got to be a part of that, and so I chose someone not from the children's department, from the reference department. So we had this group, and they all read the book and made an independent decision, independent from mine, and they recommended that the library keep the book. So that was what they were going to recommend. So the committee made that formal recommendation at a board meeting, and the patron was invited to attend the board meeting. So, and she did attend, and she was allowed to make a statement. And so she made a strong, forceful statement. And it was basically that she did not feel that she didn't want her kids to be exposed to that kind of material. And she made the point in Tennessee that at that time, gay marriage was not allowed, therefore there was no reason the library should have it. I was a little prepared for that line of argument from her. I checked the census figures, census data, and it actually gave some data that indicated a certain percentage of households, had gay people. So they are in our community, and again, just the checkout figures means that it was relevant to someone. So pointed that out to her, and we dialogued a little bit. The committee, shared their rationale, which was very similar to, the initial conclusions that I had, and then the board ultimately voted on it, and they voted unanimously to keep the book. And then we made an appeal to the patron that we hoped that she was satisfied that she was at least heard and she would continue to use the library. And you always worry, will they go to the media? Will they try to, make a stink of it? But I think she did feel like she was fairly heard. So the process in that respect worked. We kept the book, and this patron, to this day, continues to come in the library and bring her kids. So she did accept it. So it was a happy outcome, but it was a kind of a lengthy process.